Go ahead and jump to your module directory and open up the second step, which is called embedded form. Okay, go ahead and copy this code and paste it over the code that's currently in your .module file and save it. What I've added in this file is an item to our hook menu function, which adds a page which calls a function called input simple page. And if you scroll down, you'll see we have our function defined here. What this does is return a render array to our menu item. Now, if you're not familiar with returning render arrays inside of a page callback, then go ahead and take a look at the menu system video. But basically, it's structured very similarly to the form render array. We're returning an array that includes items that are going to be passed that will be rendered as HTML inside of our content. So we're adding some header text here, which we're giving a type of markup, which is just a word for any HTML markup that's going to be passed in. And we're passing it some text called to add additional content to a form page. You can use a page callback and return a render array like this. And then we're wrapping it in the T function, which is making this text translatable. Our next item that we're adding to this build array is called example form, and we're returning it Drupal get form, and we're passing it the function that we defined up here that returns the build array to Drupal get form. So instead of calling Drupal get form directly in our menu item callback, we're defining it here, and what this does is it pulls back a full array of build information for the form, and we're passing it into an item that's in turn embedded in our build array that's being passed to the page, and then that's finally going to be rendered into content. Now there's a function we can call called Drupal render, which is what will get called eventually when the page is rendered into HTML, but we can call it on specific parts of our build array. So if we wanted to render this form into HTML before passing it to our page callback, we could just wrap Drupal render around Drupal get form here. But typically, we want to retain the array structure of our form and any other content we pass through the render array that's in our menu page callback as long as possible so that other modules can manipulate it as they need to before the content gets output to the page. Okay, let's go ahead and copy the URL for this page. And I'm going to jump back to the browser here. And we need to clear our cache because we just added an item to our menu array. And I'm going to paste the path in the address bar. Okay, so now we have our page, but we can tell by the title that it's a different one than our original. And we also have some additional text here that we added as markup above the form inside of our render array. Let's go ahead and move on to the next example.